All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be getting started shortly. Just be patient. Very, very, very excited about what's about to take place. Hopefully, you guys are sitting down, or at least you have something to take notes with, because the information you're about to get. So many people in the industry have been paying a lot of money for to get this information. So I just want to make sure you're taking advantage of that. So make sure you're taking notes. We'll be back shortly. This shit. Place. Hello? All right, guys, so we're going to get started shortly. We're going to get started shortly, guys. I just, first of all, very, very, very excited. I want to make sure, again, if you have an ability to take notes, you're taking notes. I don't know how many times I've been early in my career, been in events, and after it was over with, I was like, man, I should have been taking notes. So you don't want to be in that situation. The gentleman that we have here, the fact that we even have him on a private training is nothing less than amazing. And if you ask anybody in the industry of network marketing over the last 20 years, this gentleman is one of the most sought after trainers, business builders, and really change agents in our country and really throughout the world. So the fact that we even have him here is just such a blessing. So we want to make sure we respect that we're taking notes, and we're ready to use this information to really change our lives and the lives of everyone. So I'm excited. Words really can't explain how excited I am, guys. So I'm just waiting for Mr. John Malott to get on the line. So we're going to give just a few more minutes, then we're going to get going.
When he's speaking.
All right, guys. Let me just take this. First of all, you guys, welcome. My name is Rebecca Jones. Very, very excited. We're about to get started. If you, if you have the ability to mute your line, do that. I tried to mute everyone on the line as you're coming in, just so that we don't have any distractions. I'm going to automatically mute the line. On top of that, Mr. Malott, if he has, we want to hold questions until at the end. We want to make sure he gets the respect to get all the information out and really get us the information that he feels is going to take our business to the next level. And this gentleman, excuse me, everywhere he's gone has changed lives. And the people that he's worked with, just like all of us, he started every business the same way, yet every time he touched it, he was able to build multi-million-dollar businesses, multi-million-dollar organizations. And again, to have him with us, not even being with FES, but taking the time out of his busy schedule. This gentleman has been on the stage training with Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Ty Lopez. I mean, these are the people that he's training with. So we're not talking about just network marketing. We're talking about business in general. And for him to take time out of his busy schedule on a Wednesday night to do a private training for our team, I think speaks volumes, not only to who he is, but it speaks volumes to the type of person that he is. And again, I'm just honored. So I got my notepad ready. Want to make sure that everybody can get in because I got to make sure that it allows me to make sure everybody's in. So let me just check one thing here. Mr. Malott, are you there?
I'm here, man. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can see. There was the man, y'all. Let's look at this man. Some applause. I know you guys can't hear him. I'm gonna unmute it for a moment just so that everybody can have an opportunity. Let me see if I can unmute this. Give me one moment. I know everybody wants to say hi to you. Let's see here. Unmute. You got me nervous. Man. I can't use my own Zoom now. That's crazy. Let's see here if I can get this right. Can everybody say anything? Is everybody still muted? Okay, don't worry about it. You know they're saying hi. Let me just make sure.
Hi, Mr. Malott.
There we go. There we go. Everybody say hi for a moment.
I just Jebecca.
Hi, Mr. Malott.
Hello,
Mr. Malott. How you doing?
thank you.
Good to have you guys on this call. I just want to know, is my head as big as Jebecca's on this thing? Jebecca, on my screen, head is huge, bro. I'm gonna mute my video so I don't blind you. I don't want the reflectionist to smack you in the face, guys. Mr. Malott, thank you again for taking this time out. And you just again, I can't speak how just how important this is and how valued you are right now. I'm gonna get completely out the way. I made you the host. I don't know if it's showing that you're the host. Yeah, it is showing that you're the host. So I'm gonna go ahead and fall to the FaceTime, mute my line, and turn it over to you, Mr. Malott. All right, so I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go into everybody. Everybody can hear me. We're all gonna have to touch anything, right? We just roll. All right. Well, look, man. It's first off, it's my honor. It's my privilege to be on this Zoom today with you guys. And Jebecca and I Mr. Jones, and I know you guys are very formal over there at FES. You know, taking care of credit issues and saving the world. I mean, it's a very formal process. So let me stay in there and get my edification right. Mr. Jones and I, we go way back. So we actually come from the same city, and he was actually on one side of the bridge. I was on the other side. I think at one point we would have been enemies based on geographics solely, but we came together. Man, I guess it's got to be almost 20 years ago now. I hate to age myself. I know I look a lot younger than Mr. Jones, but we had an amazing run. We built a powerful community that was unlike anything that network marketing had seen up to that point, and it really set the stage for a lot of what you see today, where organizations are catching on that it's not just about selling a product or just selling a service. That there's a lot more to it. It's about, today. People give lip service to the words, like servant leadership. We hear that a lot. And wait, hold on, guys. Let me just. Okay. All right. So we hear people giving lip service to servant leadership, and we're hearing a lot of this type of stuff today. But I'm telling you, a lot of this formed back in the day when we caught on very quickly. It was more importantly to build a community, build an organization of people that locked arms, that came together. And it didn't matter your background, because matter of fact, if it mattered background, then Jebecca, he wouldn't have been invited to the party. John Malott wouldn't have been invited to the party if it would have been based on background or credibility. I wasn't born in the house with the Rolls Royce in the garage. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have all the things that society says you're supposed to have to be successful. I don't have a college degree. I don't even have a high school diploma. And you know how society has a way of putting people in boxes. It could be the color of your skin. It could be your gender. In my case, it was my lack of education. I found myself doing exactly what society expected from a 10th grade dropout. I became a custodial engineer. I had a title, man. I could sweep a mean floor. I was a janitor, and I had all the disrespect to prove I was a janitor. And you know how it is. When I would show up to work, nobody was clapping. Oh, here's John the janitor is coming to make our day today. It was a very disrespectful, it was a very frustrating environment, paycheck to paycheck. You guys have heard all this stuff, or you know this, and I'm not going to take much time here today because I want to get right into some of the key points. But it really was network marketing, multi-level marketing.
I'm sorry, real quick. Are you getting notifications to add people or to new people?
Yeah, it says people are in a waiting room.
Right. So that's because I made you the host. So if you want, I can switch it back. I think you should be, unless you could just hit add.
Yeah,
at the top, see where it says admit them.
Rebecca, I got ADD and 4 other conditions. How am I going to talk and do all this?
All right. Well, here, make me back the host. If you can, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Malott. If you can just
way out of my pay grade, brother. I got like 35 people trying to get in here.
So hit the under your name. It should be a way for you to go. You know what? I'll do it. Hold on one second. Let me see if it lets me do it. All right, don't be mad. Y'all know that I'm homeschooled, right?
They're like, what? How did you find this?
I'm homeschooled. Hey, I'm trying to tell y'all.
But I can dance, so I can dance.
Yes, ma'am. My mom just told me to be making fun of homeschooling, so I'm gonna be quiet. All right, claim host, bingo. I think I'm back as host.
You got it.
All right, bam. So let me go ahead and admit all, because they're gonna be mad at me. All right, go ahead, Ms. Malott.
All right.
There.
We good?
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
So anyhow, now I'm completely off track. Let's talk about something else, man. Let's talk. Let's talk about another topic today. But no. Anyways, society has a way of putting us in our place, so to speak, and in a lot of cases, we start to believe, what other people say about us, what society says about us, what the media says about us, and I was a victim of my own mentality. I was a victim of the challenges that I faced as a young person. When I was 17 years old, I had a heart attack from smoking cocaine, and I found myself, locked in detention facilities most of my young life, and I struggled mainly because most of the people around me were telling me, who I was not. John, you are not going to be this. John, you are not going to be that. And they had all the adjectives from loser to drug addict, you name it. I heard all of it. So I'm sure there's probably maybe one other person or a couple people on this line today that can relate to what I'm saying. But network marketing became my refuge. Network marketing became the oasis of hope. The place that truly was an equal opportunity. Didn't care. Network marketing doesn't care what the color of your skin is. Network marketing doesn't care what your education level is. What it cares about is, will you bring value to the marketplace? Will you provide value to the market? And here you get paid in direct proportion to the amount of people you serve, to the amount of value that you bring. And for me, that was beautiful news. It was finally, because I always felt like I found myself in environments where people were advancing, not based on merit, not based on skills or what they're doing. People were advancing in corporate America because they could brown nose better than somebody. Or I remember, I was a janitor. I was trying to work my way up. We all got to, try to climb the corporate ladder. So I was trying to go from, the manual, take the garbage out guy to the floor buffer. You guys have seen the floor buffers, right? All day long, just swaying with the buffer, listening to music, swaying with the buffer. And every time, I would see this and I said, that's the job I want to have. But every time I got near the buffing machine, the buffer man who already had the job, he would get mad at me and try to get me fired. And why? Because he had insecurity. He was concerned that I might take his position. You guys know how this is. And so you got friends at work patting you on the back, but they really got a knife in their hand. When you walk past the water cooler, they stop talking. Why? Because they were talking about you. But that's okay, because when they're gone, you're talking about them. And this vicious cycle continues. And then we call it the rat race. And the reason it's the rat race is because we're all in this big circle, following the follower in this big circle, frustrated. And the challenge is, even if you win the rat race, now you're the king of the rats. I don't know. It's a ridiculous place to be. And we know it every single day, but we don't know what to do, because the people that have held the keys in the past didn't want to share the keys with us. You guys know what I'm talking about? The people that had the recipe, that had the ingredients, they didn't want to share it with other people because they like being on the throne. I call them, and I wish I could draw right now, because I would draw out what I call the kingdom builders. Not kingdom, but kingdom, D-U-M-B, but kingdom builders. They're the ones that are sitting around waiting. They join a network marketing company and they're waiting around for the people to make them rich, to feed them grapes and to fan them. And you guys know, in this profession, you're going to get back in direct proportion what you put out. You're going to have to feed your people grapes. You're going to have to fan your people before you'll ever be served. And that's a challenge for a lot of people. So they come in, and in a very short period of time, they start to catch on that in network marketing, it's the purest form of business. In network marketing, and really in anything, but it really shows up here in a big way. Time will promote or expose you. Time will promote or expose you. And you see how many people have had a big shot show up, and they tell you how great they are. Their ego's so big it can barely fit through the room. And as soon as they get involved in your organization, they proceed to do exactly nothing. They get nothing done. They can't make anything happen, but yet they talk all day long and they tell you, I'm about to do this, or we're about to do that. My mentor used to call them finna do, people. They were finna do this, finna do that, and never really did anything. but talk, talk, talk. And in this profession, talk really is cheap. Talk doesn't get you anywhere. Here it's about action, and time will promote or expose you based on the actions that you put out. And so let me go into a couple things here so I can keep us on track. I want to give you guys a few nuggets that you'll be able to utilize, that you'll be able to use as you're building your business. One of the things that you're going to find about me is I try to keep everything extremely simple. I break everything down to its lowest common denominator. Now, the big words in business right now, you know, that entrepreneurs are using is they're talking about scaling. You guys have all heard scaling. Well, look, in network marketing, you're taught very early how to scale a business. It's the reason why Robert Kiyosaki talks about network marketing being a big business. Where unfortunately those outside of network marketing, sometimes they look down their noses at us. They think it's some kind of hobby, some kind of game we're playing. Can any of you guys relate to what I'm talking about? It's so ridiculous because this is a big business. Look, if you go on to build inside of your company, you build an organization of 1,000 people. If you had a company, any company with 1,000 people in the organization, let me ask you a question. Would that be a big business or would that be a small business? That's a big business, man. And you guys are going to have tens of thousands. We are fortunate to build an organization with over 100,000 distributors in it. That's a big business by any stretch of the imagination. So the skills that you'll have to learn to build a big business are the same skills that a Fortune 500 CEO has under his belt. The difference is we don't have to go, spend all that money on Harvard education. We don't have to go through all the hoops and things that they have to jump through. You can get that education every single week on a Zoom call, coming to an event. I know I'm going to be speaking at an event November 9th and 10th in Los Angeles. I'm super pumped about getting around the leadership and the people that are making it happen, those that are in the trenches. You can get in those environments and learn everything you need to know. Watch, I'll tell you this, how exciting it is. It took no more effort when we went from 2 people to 4 people in the organization. It was difficult. Let me tell you this. In the beginning, just going from 2 to 4 people, man, it was, how it is. They got these people, that's like, they're only there. Like my dad was the first guy who joined my business, and he only joined out of feeling sorry for me. It was 6 months before I recruited my very first person when I started this profession. It was my dad. And I knew he wasn't going to do nothing, but I was on him every single day to show up. Of course, he didn't show up. And then I got another guy who he wasn't quite right, mentally speaking. So he was easy to sign up. I just couldn't get him to do anything. And so I went through this process in the early stages. So going from like 2 people to 4 people, it was miserable. It was tough. It was challenging. I was every night I go to bed in the fetal position, sucking my thumb and crying tears. Like, what have I done with my life? Hanging out with guys like Rebecca Jones when I was a kid. Now look what happened. The teachers were right. Anyhow, so I was dealing with the situation. But watch this. When we went from 200 to 400 people, it was the exact same effort that was being expelled. So to go from 2 to 4 didn't look like anything. People were still laughing. Oh, John Malott going to lead people to fortunes. Yeah, right. Rolling in the Pontiac 2000, one-tone rust, one-tone dirt. Nobody thought I was leading anybody to freedom. I might lead you to the club. I might lead you down the wrong path, but nobody ever thought that I was going to, bring greatness into their life. Nobody ever thought that John Malott was going to build this large organization and have hundreds and hundreds of people making 6 and 7 figures in the organization. Matter of fact, in the beginning, I had a hard time believing too. I just knew that there were people that were just like me that were starting to make significant income. So I thought, okay, let me go after it anyhow. But when we went from 2,000 people to 4,000 people in the organization, do you realize I was expelling the exact same energy? But the results were magnified. The exponential growth that's only possible in a big business, in an opportunity like what you guys have in network marketing. You can't go in. Imagine what you would have to do to double your pay in your current corporate America job. Besides take out the boss himself, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe do something unethical. Most people say I couldn't even put in the extra hours. I couldn't even get the overtime to make that happen. So anyhow, we started to learn the principles of scaling, or the principles, what we call duplication. When I come November 9th and 10th to Los Angeles, I'm going to go step by step exactly what we did to go from, and I talked about this last night, Rebecca, to go from invisible to average, and then, from average to leader, and then from leader to legacy. I'm going to talk about each one of those steps and where we're going to go. But there's one thing I caught on very early is that you've got to break it down to its lowest common denominator. Everything's got to be simple. So it's interesting that the greatest speakers on the planet, the greatest presenters, the greatest communicators, the greatest business builders understand this concept. Speaking and breaking things down so it's just that it's simple, so that your 9-year-old could digest it, so that your 9-year-old could repeat it. You know, we got this concept early on. I was taught that, look, if you learn this information so that you can teach it, you'll probably build a business of, I don't know, 5 to 10 people. Not bad. You know, look, if we all could hand our bills to 5 to 10 different people, if I could hand one person my car note, one person my mortgage, you guys get my point. You pay my electric bill. Hey, that takes some pressure off my house. But I was taught early on that there's a better way, and it's called learn to teach. Now, so watch this. So now, tonight, we're learning the information. So we're taking notes or whatever. We're listening in, and we're learning this information, maybe for the person who's not on the line tonight. More likely, not for the person that's not on tonight, but more likely for the person you haven't even sponsored yet. That's who you're learning this information, but this isn't for you. So you learn this information so you can teach it to the person who hasn't even joined the team yet, who's going to look to your leadership, not to my leadership. They're going to look to you because look, they're going to buy into you first before they buy into your opportunity, before they buy into your company. So you get the concept, learn to teach. Now you can build a business of 50 to 100 people. But the key to this whole thing, and when you get this down, it changes everything. When I got this down, everything changed. It's the concept of teach to teach. Every great religion was built upon that concept. You know, the greatest leaders on the planet, they got it. They said, I'm going to grow an organization in spite of me, not because of me. You want your organization to grow, not because your ego's big and it feels good to have a whole bunch of people that call you leader. We want organizations that grow so that, look, we could be on the beach half naked eating organic chickens in Costa Rica somewhere, and the organization is still going. You guys know what I'm talking about? This is the vision of network marketing. This is what the guy that's going to work tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., he'll never have this opportunity. He'll never have that ability, but he'll never be willing to pay the price that we have to pay in the beginning. That's, you know, what I'm talking about, going from 2 people to 4 people, the frustration, the holidays are coming up, and I already know, man, around the Thanksgiving dinner, people used to be like, my family, my own family would be like, are you rich yet? I'm like, bro, are you rich yet? You've been doing the same thing for 15 years, still driving that, you know what I'm talking about. It was, at least I'm doing something. At least I'm setting the stage for something bigger, something better to create that legacy type income, and you can only do that here. So a couple things. I'm going to give you some things for your notes if you're taking notes. This was one of the first things I learned in the beginning. 3 things. Number 1, stay focused. This is difficult, man. You know, people have a hard time staying focused today. We have the attention span of a gnat today. You know, look, Instagram, 15-second story videos are too long for us now. Twitter feeds are becoming too long for us. The millennials, they can't look. If there are any millennials on here right now, they're already tuned out or they're playing Fortnite while they're, you know, pretending like they're listening to our training. The attention span of people today is short, and it's getting shorter. That's why when I teach social media, and at some point I'll teach this team what we did to grow our social media. We've got one business page. It's got 1.4 million followers. My personal page on Instagram is about 130,000 followers. I'm going to teach you guys, you know, how we attracted the millennials in sound bites, in super short. The same thing you guys can do with the credit repair stuff. I got so many ideas for you guys when it comes to driving your social media and having millennials join your team. And they'll be so excited to join their team, they won't even know why they're joining your team. They're just going to know they're excited to join your team if it's done right. So I have a whole company that's all we do is teach branding and social media, how to package your content properly, how to make it fast, how to make it impactful. So anyhow, that's a whole nother training that we'll go into. And I already told Becca that I'm going to hang with him. And look, guys, just so you know, I get paid nothing for doing this. I'm not getting a nickel for doing this. This is because Jebecca's my brother, and you know, 20 years ago, we set out on a mission, you know, to accomplish some big things. And somewhere along the line, Jebecca, you know, chose to veer off the path. You know, that's a whole nother topic. I stayed on the path, and so he sees what can happen. So and it will happen. It's just a matter of time. So I want to be here. So anyhow, you guys get this. Let me not stray too far. Stay focused. Number 2, keep it simple. You're going to hear this theme over and over and over from me. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. You cannot, look, complexity is the enemy of greatness. And there's so many people that they want to look smart. Look, you don't want to look smart here. Matter of fact, the dumber you come across, the more people, look, I'm telling you, in the beginning, I was so dumb for real, people felt sorry for me and joined. Later on, I caught on that the people that had the biggest titles, the people that had the biggest educations, the people that use the biggest words, they weren't making the most money. It was the ones that caught on to simplify everything. The ones that caught on to say, look, I don't know anything, but let me tell you what Mr. Rebecca Jones knows. I don't know anything, but let me tell you about Patricia Anderson. Yeah, I don't know anything, but let me tell you about Simone Brown. I got very good at taking it completely off me. People would call me about stuff. They would call me about, like, how does the compensation plan work? I'm like, well, works pretty good based on my last check. Seems to work real nice. But I do know someone who's a compensation expert if you want to know every single detail. Matter of fact, there's a whole thing you can read, and there's a video you can watch. I got very good at keeping myself out of the way. You know why? Because I wanted to be free. I came into network marketing for freedom. I didn't come into network marketing to get myself another job. I see so many leaders in network marketing. All they've done is they bought themselves a different 9 to 5. But it's no longer 9 to 5. Now they're working from 9 to 9 because, in network marketing, we don't ever turn this stuff off. Everybody around us knows. Your kids, they hate you because every morning in the car you're playing some personal development stuff. It used to be cool. You used to put on the radio. You'd have Jay-Z playing. Now you got Les Brown, and the kids are like, man, I hate network marketing, and I hate Les Brown, and I hate Rebecca Jones for turning my mom on to this nonsense. And so my point to this is we got to remain who we are as we're becoming who we're capable of being. And otherwise you start freaking the people out around you. And part of what we do is we keep everything very simple. The only time we use a lot of words is when you're asked to train, when you're asked to speak. It's the only time we should be using a lot of words. Otherwise it should be quick. And it should be us asking questions. If I'm talking to a prospect, I'm keeping everything so incredibly simple. If you sit next to me on an airplane, you're joining my business. You don't know you're joining my business yet. I will not tell you anything about my business. We're on a 5-hour flight. You won't know anything about my business. But by the time we're done, I'm going to know everything about you. Because I'm going to do? I'm an investigator. I'm going to ask questions over and over. And you're going to give me all of the answers I need to eventually bring you into my company. I'm going to share some techniques that I use using technology that allowed me to bring in school teachers and IT professionals and sports figures, people that never consider themselves salespeople. Because one of the misconceptions that we have inside of this profession is people think that we're salespeople. I'm like, man, I am the furthest. They were not in between me scrubbing another man's floors and cleaning their damn toilets. They weren't teaching me marketing secrets. They weren't teaching me how to become a sales professional. I'm an introvert by nature. This is so far out from who I am. But I caught on. I could ask people questions. I could find out about other people. And then based on those answers, I could find something that brought value to their life, whether it was a compensation plan or whether it was products and services. And you guys already know, the questions to ask. I'm not going to go into it. By the time I get to the November event in Los Angeles, I'll have a whole layout for you, how I use the text message script to get school teachers and introverts and people that never want to sell anything in their life. We created a simple thing. We had an army of non-sales people exploding all over 6-figure earners. We were popping them like popcorn. And of course, you create enough 6-figure earners. Next thing you know, you got 7-figure earners. We started creating 7-figure earners in countries I couldn't even speak the language. You know why? Because we were building a business in spite of me, not because of me. I'd show up in South Korea and get on a stage in front of 30,000 of our team. I get in front of 30,000 people, and it was the organization that we brought. 100% of the people in the room I was getting compensated from, and I couldn't speak the language. I was trying to avoid that stage with everything I had. I can't speak Korean, but I can eat some kimchi for sure. But anyhow, so the next thing is lead by example. I never ask anybody to do anything, just like my kids. I remember growing up, and my mother would tell us not to smoke cigarettes while she smoked cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? It's that lead by example type leadership, not, or you might have heard it like this: do as I say, not as I do, type thing. Nobody wants to follow that type of leader. If they know you're sitting around, you're not doing nothing, and you're waiting for someone else to go out and make things happen and do things, they're not going to do it either. Because, by the way, everything duplicates at some level or another, whether it's good or bad. It will all find its way or infect its way into your organization. So we lead by example. Guys, there's going to be 3 elements too. So you got the 3 things: stay focused, keep it simple, lead by example. I'm just giving you some basics, guys, that you'll be able to start using. By the way, these are the things that I use I chunk everything into groups of 3s, 4s tops. And the reason why is because it's easy for us to remember. It's the same thing we do with phone numbers. Well, maybe not so much anymore because all the phone numbers are on our phone. I couldn't even tell you anybody's phone number anymore, but Social Security number is a good example. We memorize our Social Security numbers in groups of 3 and 4. We chunk things together. We discovered how the mind actually operates. And when you look at, just look through society, 3s are everywhere. The children's stories today, what do we have? We have the 3 bears, right? The 3 musketeers, the 3 little pigs. We've got the ghost of what? Christmas past, present, future. I go on and on with this stuff. The 3 blind mice. I had a bunch of this stuff. My daughter's about to get beat, guys, just so you know. She knows she's not supposed to come in right now, so she's distracted me slightly. She heard the 3 bears and the 3 little pigs, and she thinks it's bedtime story time, but that maybe I'll be with you in a second. Look, runners, they understand the 3 things. When a runner hears ready, set, go, they know what to do. When an actor hears what? Lights, camera, action, they know exactly what's happening right now. If you catch on fire with enthusiasm because this presentation is so hot, you know what the 3 things you're supposed to do is, right? What are you supposed to do? Stop, drop, and roll. What if you had 20 steps to putting yourself out? You'd be in trouble. We would be visiting you at the funeral home. You guys know what I'm talking about. So keeping things simple. Think about this. Steve Jobs delivered in 2005. He delivered the Stanford commencement speech, and some say today it was one of the greatest speeches ever delivered. What did he deliver? He delivered 3 stories at that deal. Brian Stevenson, if you go check out the TED Talks, Brian Stevenson got the longest standing ovation in TED Talk history. What did he do? He delivered 3 stories there and got the longest standing ovation in TED Talk. Thomas Jefferson changed the course of civilization with the 3 alienable rights. You guys know what I'm talking about? You remember that? How the Constitution was built on what? Life, liberty, and happiness. Now, I'm not here to argue, where all this stuff went and what it all means. I'm just saying that these leaders understood how to use communication. They learned how to chunk things together, to break things down to their lowest common denominators, and they drove massive, massive organizations. I was reading this thing. I'm a big fan of great entrepreneurs, of great leaders, from Martin Luther King to Mother Teresa to Bill Gates, people that have built massive, massive organizations. And, there's a guy today. Imagine this. This guy had 3 million people pack a beach in Rio to hear him speak. This guy is Pope Francis. And I was listening to his speech the other day, and here's what he did. He started off with 3 things. He said, it's about journeying, building, and professing. I'm reading this right now, so I don't lose track, because I'm no Pope Francis, by the way. I won't be preaching anytime soon. I won't be on that pulpit. But it was interesting to me as I watched the speech, how he kept using 3s. He got it. He understood the rule of 3. He understood simplicity and communication. But the 3 million people that showed up to hear him speak on the beach of Rio was nothing compared. That was the setup for 6 million people that showed up in Manila in 2015. And here's what he said. He said, God created the world as a beautiful garden, but then man came in and disfigured it by creating social structures that perpetuate 3 things. He said, poverty, ignorance, and corruption. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I said, this dude, he gets it. He's got, how many people would like to have 6 million people to show up to your next FES presentation? I mean, some of you are saying, look, if I can get 6 to show up, I'd be straight right now. But I'm telling you, when you get this stuff down, it's just a matter of time. When you start to catch on that this is what drives everything. It's interesting, even in movies today, almost all movies today have that 3-part structure. It's the introduction, where we're introduced to the villain. We're introduced to the hero. And then the second part is what? The conflict and the obstacles, where all the drama starts to happen. And at the end, the third part is the resolution. It's where it all comes together and the climax of this thing. It's the same thing we should be doing every single day, building inside of our organization. I'm going to give you 3 keys to building a network marketing organization. Okay. So, look, just so you know, I'm a real I remember, I don't know if you were on this call. This was way back. I was living in Waukesha, Wisconsin at this time, and I'm on a conference call. We didn't have no Zoom calls back then, but I was on a conference call, and and one of the kids, the hamster got loose in the house. On a call, the whole family's freaking out. I'm on a conference call, trying to do a conference call and catch a hamster at the same time. And, I got sweat running.
You was not happy.
It was so ridiculous. So you know what? But embrace it, man. Let people know if you're on a conference call and your kids are we know our kids are my kids are bad. My kids don't always listen. I let people know I'm a real dude. I got some real stuff happening in my life and in my house right now. And so you've got to let people know that you're authentic, that you're a real person, because that's who they want to do business with, because they're going to be thinking to themselves when they join your team, man, how am I going to do this stuff? I got, some of you right now know you should be putting the kids to bed. The kids should be, it's bath time. Look, there's one right there. But that's okay. You got to let people know this is how we do it, man. We're able to build our organization around our lifestyle. If you had a job, look, you wouldn't have a choice. The kids can't come. They can't come and see you. They can't interrupt you, but the job is taking your life away. Look, let me stop. Let me not go there. Let me give you 3 keys. Number 1, when you're building your FES business, exposure is everything. Matter of fact, if you go to my Instagram page, I did a whole training just on exposure is everything. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's where the whole thing starts to happen. I tell people all the time, show me your calendar and I can show you your results 6 months from now. Show me your calendar today and I'll show you what your paycheck's going to look like 90 days, 6 months from now. The truth is in the calendar. I didn't say show me your results, though, by the way. I want to know the activity, because here's what I discovered. I was so wrapped up in the results in the beginning, I was getting stressed out of my mind. And I was stressing everybody around me. Bills weren't getting paid. Things weren't right. So it made sense. But it was never about the results. I eventually caught on that it wasn't the results, that if I would do the activity, if I would make the exposures, if I would just expose enough people, eventually the results would come. Look, it's the laws of nature. I didn't create the laws of nature, but the laws of nature suggest if you plant enough seeds, at some point you will go to harvest. There's no other way around it. You plant enough seeds, you do it enough times, some's going to land on fertile ground, some's going to land on rock, some are the birds are, what are the birds? The birds are the negative, family members and friends, those are gone in here. You can't do nothing with those seeds. But you only need a handful of them in a company like this with a compensation plan like what you guys have. You only need a handful to land on fertile ground to make something big happen. So exposure is everything. I'm not going to go into all the steps on exposure. We'll do that in November. Number 2, so you got the exposure is everything. So then the next step is fortune is in the follow-up. I see so many people, man, they're exposing people, but they never do the next step. They never ask for the order. They never follow up to say, hey, Jebecca, what did you like best about the video I just sent you? They never do the next step. The follow-up is the critical piece. Where I made most of my money? There were tons of people out there planting seeds and exposing people, but they weren't doing the next step, which was the follow-up. And here I would show up. I once went to a training and they had a deck of cards, and they went through the deck of cards and they were flipping through, looking for aces. You guys may have seen this before. Look, how many aces are on a deck? There's 4. So if I flip the first card over and it's a deuce, what do I do? Nothing. It's a 2. I can't do nothing with a 2. I got to flip again. Now, I see people trying to take that 2, get a Sharpie, and, try to turn the 2 into an ace. No, the 2's not ready yet. The 2's going to have to marinate. The 2's going to have to be dripped on for a while. The 2's going to have to continue to be exposed and followed up on. What I caught on is the faster you can flip, the less painful it is. It reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to live in Milwaukee, and I used to go to I went to a few, either Kosciuszko Park pool, or I would go to Jackson Park pool. Those were my 2 spots. And when you go to the public pool, now back then they used to have diving boards, and Jackson Park at one point had a high dive when we were real little. And I think all that stuff is gone now thanks to lawsuits and everything else. But anyhow, I'm dragging this out to get a point across. Somebody like, can you get to the point, dummy? Can you get to the point so I can put my kids to bed or myself to bed? When you go to the public pool, there's 2 ways to get into the public pool. One way is you can jump in the pool. Now, the pool is usually cold because they don't heat those pools in the city. So the pool's cold. So when you first get in, it's cold, right? So if you go in slow, how many people know it's more painful to go into a pool slow? It hits it right around the waist area, and it's like some kind of mechanism that, oh man, it's a little painful. There's another way to go in though, and that's to go jump straight in. It's like refreshing. It's quick. You're up, and now you're waving your friends in. Come on, man, the water's beautiful. Even though you know it's cold as hell, but you get used to it a lot quicker. The other thing is the high dive. I hate heights, and I don't like being up there, but when you're a kid, you had to do what the other kids were doing. You would wait in line at the high dive. I'd be in that line scared to death, don't want to do it, but I have to do it. Look, if you get to the top of the high dive and you make a decision not to go, you have to come down the steps, go past all your buddies. You can never come back to the pool again. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I bring this up is because some of us get in network marketing. We got the lighters out. We're like, I'm down with some FES. We're telling everybody. And then we don't do anything. And we have to walk past. We have to come to the family. They know you're not doing nothing. They know you haven't done nothing with your business. You ain't brought anybody to the table. You're still driving that beat-up-ass car that you had before. Things are not happening, even though you proclaimed it when Jebecca first brought you to the table. It's like, yeah, we're gonna be Lamborghinis, and we're gonna be rolling in Alfred's Rolls-Royce Wraith, private jets. They knew you were lying, and you did too. It's like walking past all your friends at the public pool in the high dive. You just humiliated yourself, and no wonder why they won't join your team. Anyhow, let me stop. Are you guys okay? Jebecca, am I going too far here, man? Am I going to scare the whole crew?
Absolutely not, man. I think everybody can agree. Everybody, hold on real quick.
Oh, God.
Let's go ahead and pull around. Make sure I ain't fucking free.
Are y'all feeling this so far?
Yes, very.
Yeah, she want me like, she be waiting to go to her. And I'm like, shit, I want to go to her. You hear me?
All right.
Dude was my
Feeling it.
All right, let me unmute him back. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Just don't call Alfred and tell Alfred that John Malott came in and messed up the whole team. And now,
We won't do it.
All right, so you guys got exposures, everything, fortunes, and the follow-up. The third thing, which is tough, man, this is a tough one to get. It's work with the willing. Work with the willing. Because you know what it is. Sometimes you want it more for other people than they want it for themselves. And unfortunately, that becomes a recipe for frustration. It's one of the toughest things we'll do because people think that you're trying to bring them into the business for your benefit.
Right.
And here's what I know about most network marketers that are sincere. We're not. Look, you already know. You know what your services could do for somebody. How many? Just raise your hand if you know what your services could do for somebody. If you believe your services could help somebody. Okay, so that's the first thing that's done. So you know your services could benefit somebody. Raise your hand if you believe that your opportunity could help some people financially. Of course. And so you're bringing them an opportunity that could help them. It's not about you. I tell people all the time, look, I'm not trying to make money off you. I can't make money off of you. I can't do anything. But you and I together, we can make some money together. But by the way, you get the money first. You get the money before I do. I get a small, and I'm imagining you're going to, in this company, you're going to get a bigger piece. If you do the deal, you're going to get a bigger piece. I'm going to get a smaller piece, which is the way it should be. You ain't arguing about that with your boss at the job who's taking the bigger piece, giving you table scraps, making you punch in when it's way too early in the morning to punch in, making you stuck in traffic every single day, giving people the number one sign on the way to work and back. You ain't complaining. Well, you are complaining about that, but you do it every single day. Why not take some of that that commitment and you got to just give a fraction over here? Because I can teach someone to do in 5 hours what the average worker cannot get done in 50 hours. I can show someone how to be done in 5 years on an income that the average person can't get after 50 years of working for somebody. So I'm not doing this for me, man. I'm giving you a gift. By the way, if you give someone a gift, do you get upset if they don't like the gift? I mean, look, if I give you a gift, I'm thinking about you. My kids, only little kids will sometimes show you when they don't like a gift. You give them something like, oh, I didn't want this. I'm like, you rotten ass kid. This is the reason why I should have put you in military school. But look, if it ain't fun, it ain't me, guys. I hope this is, because I know it's late for some of you guys. I know it's late. So, the mind can only take what the butt can endure. We gotta keep this thing rolling. But we've gotta create this environment where it's about posture. It's about, look, I'm giving you a gift. I'm doing you a favor. You don't have to necessarily say that, really, but it's all in your posture. It's how you carry yourself. I look you in the eye and with conviction and clarity, I'm telling you I have something that can change your life. I'm telling you I've got something that can change your financial situation. I'm telling you, I have something that can get you out of that zip code. I'm telling you, I've got something. Look, you complained the other day about you hate your boss. Well, I don't know if it's for you or not, but I have something I know for sure could get you a new boss or get you away from that boss or help you become your own boss. Are you guys getting this? Is it making sense? Okay. Let me think here. I'm going to wrap up with just a couple of things here. I want to first off talk a little bit about edification, man. Your ability to edify one another, your ability to constantly take it off yourself and put it on other people. That's been a critical piece. I'm constantly telling people, look, I don't have all the answers. I'm not the guy. I'm not this. I'm not that. But I do know the guy, or I know the guy who knows the guy. And I'm constantly putting on other people. That's why I've been free. Why I've watched so many network marketers that never really get free. They make a lot of money, but they're still on that hamster wheel every single day, going at it. When you start to get these concepts down, get other people, use the technology. I'll show you guys an app that I use when I come to the LA event that does just about everything. Does all the hard work for me, does all the heavy lifting for me in an app that's amazing. And then it's got an accountability piece and there's contests you can use. And Rebecca, I'll share it with you. I didn't get a chance to share it with you, but I'll go through that with you guys in November. But you guys got to create this environment that it feels better to be here. You know why we were, Rebecca, remember when we had our Tuesday events, man, it would be jam-packed to the back wall. People, trying to get in, couldn't get in. We would have these big Super Saturday events and the fire marshal would come and shut us down. There'd be so many people trying to get in. It's because we've created an environment, man. It was safe. It felt good. We had a community. We would hang together. We go bowling together. We were really building a community and people would rather be around us sometimes than go home. Sometimes like, look, what was it saying? You don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. We were creating an environment that people felt good over, and we were lifting people up. We were constantly edifying. We were always pointing at other people, pointing at the next person, saying this person, that person. You guys get this stuff. As I wrap up, I'm going to leave you with three things that in this business. Number one, you got to get excited. You got to get excited. You've been around these people who are not so excited. You can't build anything without excitement. The person is like, oh, yeah, we're going to get rich. Oh, I can't wait. And they got no energy, no enthusiasm. It's like, if you're not very excitable or excited, just pick it up a notch, just a little bit. It's interesting because I've been to a lot of different churches. I'm a spiritual, I almost call myself a spiritual misfit. Maybe that is the word for me, but I'm a spiritual baby. I'm always working on that side. I'm always working on that side. And so I go to I check out a lot of different churches and mosques and kingdom halls and my former business partners, are heavy in the Jewish community and built these massive organizations. But anyhow, when I would go, it's funny that when I would go to my people's church, by the way, I'm a white male, I'm a Caucasian man. And I would go to my people's churches. And a lot of times the energy was kind of low. Like I would bring my kids and my kids hated it because there was just not a lot of energy. So it was kind of boring for them. And I'd see my kids falling asleep or they start to cause problems amongst themselves because they're bored. I understand. I'm bored too. I want to do something else myself, but you got to get the word from time to time. So I would go to my people's church and the energy would be really low. Then I would go to my people's church on my fiance's side, my other people, and I would go to a black church. Now, this is a tough topic to teach on, but I'm only doing it because Rebecca Jones, my friend, and he knows me. I would go in there, and the energy level would be way better. It would be much higher, very enthusiastic. I remember the first time I went, and they were playing the drums and stuff. It was, man, my kids got excited. They were running up and down the hall aisles with people. And they didn't really catch the spirit, but whatever. Everyone was having a great time, enjoyed it. The energy level was high. Now, I started thinking about this from a training perspective, that when I get around low energy people, I'd say, look, let's freak some people out. Let's just bring the energy up a little bit. And now people start asking you questions. There's something different about you. You know how when you get a haircut or something, some people start asking you, you start to change, you start reading some personal development books, all of a sudden people think you're different. No, you're talking different. Your language is different. You're becoming different. You're becoming better. I'm saying just do something a little different. Bring the energy up a little bit and watch how people start asking questions. Next thing you know, they start asking you questions. You're going to end up with a new customer. You're going to end up with a new distributor for sure. And I talked to other people that were super high energy. Sometimes energy like freaks other people out a little bit. So I said, look, just bring it down just a notch. I know you're super high energy. That's great. Bring it down just a notch and watch what happens. All of a sudden, you're attracting a whole nother group. So if we could all kind of meet in the middle, all of a sudden now, one thing we had the largest, most diverse organization on the planet. One of the ways you'll be able to tell if you're building a truly duplicatable organization is when you look at it, what does it look like? Does everybody in the organization, are they the same age, are they the same race, the same, we had to evaluate this. And we took it very seriously that diversity became kind of the battle cry. And we would teach on uncomfortable topics. Now today, unfortunately, there's so much about race and everything that it's like, man, you can't even comment on a post anymore on social media without the potential of now, some kind of racial thing is brought into it. And I don't know how this happened. I thought we were moving away from all this nonsense, but so you have to be careful on how you do this. It's very sensitive to teach, but if you do not teach it or you don't find someone to teach it, you'll never get the diversity that you should have. Because think about it, man, at some point, your organization is going to be in Africa. At some point, your organization is going to be in Asia. At some point, you want your organization to look different than you do. And that was always our biggest thing. So we teach on this stuff. And do we have differences? We have differences. Of course we do. But the beauty of this is if somebody is different than me, I got somebody on the team I know I can count on that I can introduce them and bridge that gap. You know what I'm talking about? If you got somebody that you think would relate well with me, well, guess what? You just work through the leadership. Next thing you know, I'm on a 3-way call, bridging the gap that says, okay, Jebecca's a good dude. You know what I mean? Kind of putting that stamp on somebody. The same thing in reverse. Does that make sense, guys? Again, I don't want to get into this is better to do in a live audience than on a recorded thing, because next thing you know, someone takes a little bite of this and I'm up on the internet, I'm a racist. And how did that happen, man? Anyhow, you guys are getting this. So you got to get excited, but not too over the top, crazy excited, because there are some people you'll freak out, and you want everybody to be in an environment that they feel good. Enough energy that everyone's rolling. Number 2 is pay attention. Pay attention. This is a big one, man. Pay attention. In the beginning, for us, the biggest thing I could do is I could pay attention. I was constantly listening. I was constantly trying to learn from somebody. And look, some people get on this thing and you're going to learn some things that you would never do based on my style. And that's okay. You want to get information from everybody that you can. Pay attention and use what works for you. Use what's best for you. Does that make sense? You guys got this. And then the third thing is real simple. It doesn't get any simpler than this. It's what we teach our kids. If you have kids that play sports, we teach them to never quit. You might fall down. You might strike out. You might fumble. We don't tell them, look, you suck. You should never play the game again. We tell them, look, let's get back in the trenches. Let's dust ourselves off. Let's get back in the game. We never, never, never quit. The challenge is the kids watch the parents quitting all the time. We're down with some FES, like I said before. Next thing you know, we're barely doing it. We're quitting. We're frustrated because our best friend's cousin's sister's aunt's friend, who we've never met, have nothing to do with, said it's a scam, and we bought into it. Now we're in the fetal position, sucking our thumbs, and our kids are watching us as the examples of the household. I'm not saying you guys, but this has been my experience in people building their organizations in the past. So anyways, Jebecca, if you want, I can open up for questions. We can wrap it up. I don't know where you're at.
Well, man, Mr. Malott, man, we got so much here. I'm over here like, man, thank you. I'm sure that they want to ask some questions, so I can unmute the lines. What I'm going to say to do is unmute your line. That way I don't have to unmute everyone's. Okay, so if you have a question, unmute your line, and then we'll go from there. So I don't know. Can anybody raise their hand in the Zoom? I saw somebody doing it.
I see someone. I can't see everybody, but I can see some of them.
So I'm gonna say, if you have a question, unmute your line and go ahead and ask the question. If you know how to unmute your line. If not, I may have to unmute everybody. Let me see here. All right. Anybody have a question? I think everybody's fast, so.
It's the same, the return.
Let me run and mute everybody back in because I don't want it to get too crazy. All right, so let me ask you a question myself. Mr. Malott, hold on, let me unmute you. I want to be able to. All right, here's what we're gonna do. everybody on this call, I believe, is also in the Millionaires Maker group. Nina has the phone, so she'll be looking. If you have a question, let me know and I'll unmute you or unmute yourself. But Mr. Malott, I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So I guess for the person who's been building maybe for the last, they're not brand new, but they're not seasoned. So we'll say maybe in the first 6 months to a year, they've kind of hit a wall in their business. What was some advice that you would give somebody who in their mind, they feel like they're doing everything the right way. They feel like they've been going to the training. They feel like that they're plugging in, and they're not seeing the success that they should be getting. What would you say are some things that they can do to get back on track?
Everybody goes through this. It's a test. Imagine if you told everybody on your team that you joined and you just shot straight to the top. You had no obstacles. I mean, everything was just all rainbows and sunshine every single day. And you went straight to the top, and now you got all this money coming in and, rainbows, butterflies, and all that nonsense. Nobody will follow you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be like, look, that's not me. Because right now, me personally, in my life, I've been through a divorce. I've got kids that have had, challenges, and, I got real stuff happening. And in my business, I've had many times where things we was rocking, and then all of a sudden it seemed like out of nowhere, 15 different negative things happen. Someone leaves, goes to another company, all the, stuff happens, and now the momentum is completely gone. But in the end, it's my responsibility as a leader to get back in the trenches, lead by example, be the one making the most exposures. I'm telling the team, look, all the time, here, I'm going to the top of this mountain, or you will find me dead on the side trying to get to the top. Yeah. There is no in between. And life, anything worth doing, look, and I'm not trying to bring God into this thing, but he's not going to give us more than we can handle. Right. You're in this business because you believe in this business. Right. And if you lose some momentum, does that mean you don't believe in your service anymore? Does that believe you don't believe in the opportunity anymore? So you got to ask your question. You got to ask yourself some questions. Where am I in this equation? Because I can tell you though, when you hit a wall, there's nothing like sponsoring a new distributor to change that. That new blood is that lifeblood. You guys know what I'm talking about. Bring someone new in, and they're super excited. Now all of a sudden, yesterday you were like ready to kill everybody in FES and you bring a new distributor in, and they're so excited. Now all of a sudden you're catching on to their fire. So I'm telling you, expose more people. You have to grow through it. You have to push through that kind of stuff, because watch this. You'll be able to go back when your new distributor, who was excited today, eventually they're going to hit a wall. It's inevitable. They're going to hit a wall. You're going to go to them and say, look, I've been there. I've already been through what you're going. Let me help you. Let me guide you. Let me show you what I did to get out of this situation. It's temporary. It's always temporary. You know that. This too shall pass. And so it's just part of the deal, man. I've ridden this roller coaster for a long time. And I've been, up and down, and the down sucks, but it's where some of the biggest lessons are to be learned. And it's going to be the most valuable to your distributors who are shaky. They're not quite sure. They're excited, but they don't know why they're so excited. They don't know what to do. You have to guide them. The only way to do that is to go through these times yourself. Long explanation for a short question, but it's an important one. Rebecca, you're on mute, bro. I can't hear you.
There we go. Gabriel, I see that you're unmuted. Do you have a question? Okay, she's like, no. Put me on the spot like that. Okay. I think that anybody else have a question? Unmute yourself. If not, I don't want to. Oh, yes.
I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Jan Hongo, my fearless leader.
Hi, Mr. Malott. Thank you for being on here. I'm kind of starstruck.
I'm starstruck.
Okay.
Tattoo on your shoulder.
I have a question. So as you were saying, always move yourself out of the way, which is what they teach us, of course. It's important to move yourself out of the way and let the expert do all the talking. But let's just say I'm the expert and I deal with so many leads. I guess, I don't know, how do you deal with that overwhelming feeling of just, I don't know. I just have so many leads to deal with, and it's so hard to really like put them on someone else. It's like I'm the leader, so.
I get it. And two things. Now it's a lot different today. This answer would have been different 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. There's so many tools. Technology has made it so much easier and so much better to build a network marketing business than ever before. So what you've got to start leaning on is some technology. The same thing was happening with me, is that when I'm at the top of the organization, it was very difficult, you can do it because you can edify anybody. You can make anybody look like they glow in the dark and walk on water to bring them in as a third-party source. But I started to lean on technology. I started using technology as my third party. So it's very rare that you would see me do a presentation for somebody. It's very rare that you would see me doing more than pointing or directing somebody to something that was already produced, whether it was a video, something online, a Zoom, a webinar, something to do with technology. And I use this, I have a whole text message system that we developed that we crushed it. And it allowed for third party built into systems. Because I have people say, look, I can't get a hold of my upline, or this person, or I'm in a situation where, I'm already at this level. So we developed these systems that allowed us to continue using third party, but not stressing anybody else out, not stressing myself out, not having to have a whole bunch of other people involved. Technology changes the game for network marketers. So we have to be careful because we still have network marketing has been in kind of this bubble. The world is changing all around network marketing, and sometimes network marketing leaders don't change. Because if you're making 7 figures building a network marketing organization, you've been doing the same old school stuff since 1999, when the world was supposed to end. You remember the Prince song? So if you're still doing that same stuff, you're only doing it because that's what you know. That's what and we do it, and that's what happens. You get comfortable with something. So anyhow, tonight, for the sake of time, we won't go into all that, but I'm happy to share some of the technology things that we use to bring that third-party piece in. I mean, I had things automatically happening for me. We had programs that were making exposures for us. We're playing videos for people while I'm asleep. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to need that anyways, because as you're growing around the world, in Australia right now, they're probably sound asleep. You're going to want an Australian team at some point. And so you've got to start embracing the new technology, and social media changes the game completely. It allows us to do things, but you got to do it right, because I'll tell you, when we started doing studies on network marketers in social media, network marketers suck at social media. They kill people. They don't attract people. They repel people. Now, I'm not saying you guys, but the majority, they are so unattractive on social media because it seems like all day long they're just trying to pitch somebody on their deal. And I'll share with you guys some techniques on how to blow your social media up. So all of a sudden you got people hitting you up and say, hey, how do I be part of something that you're doing, whatever that is, and then you direct them. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that you can do that are so simple, and they're just little tweaks here and there. Every single one of you are, a couple tweaks away from a massive explosion, a couple tweaks away from bringing in the big hitters that are going to blow this thing up for you. And, it's just growth. It's just learning this stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on. By the way, you guys follow me on Instagram. Find me john.malott on Instagram. That's where I'm on Facebook too. But I'm telling you, Instagram's got 1 billion people there. There's a lot more monetization strategies there for less money. There's a lot of things you can do there on Instagram now that used to be able to do on Facebook. That's getting more and more difficult. The algorithms are different. There's a lot of, even when you got a big following, you're only getting to a small percentage of those people no matter what. And we can help show you some techniques to get to a bigger percentage of your actual follow. It's crazy. You could have 500 followers and only be reaching, 5% of those followers, where you think you're putting out a message and you're not even getting to your people. But there's some creative things that you can do to expand that reach. And then there's some super inexpensive ways to use the promotion stuff, advertising, and the tools that are available there. I'm talking about super inexpensive. to start generating leads. Then you can track your ratios. You can see, I'm big on ratios. I don't throw money at things until I can see. I want to see, okay, how is this panning out? What are the numbers? If I'm investing $1, what is my ROI, on that? What is my return on investment on that dollar? And if I'm not getting what I think it should be, then I can adjust the message, and you keep adjusting the message. And I'll show you guys how to do all this stuff. Once you get the hang of it, it's so incredibly simple. And you'll stop chasing people, and people will start chasing you. Because network marketers are known as desperate weirdos. Look, you were not a weirdo until you joined network marketing. You were cool before. People liked you. People came around. Also, you joined network marketing, and you're doing things way out of character. You can't even go to your cousin's wedding without puking all over people about your opportunity at the dinner table, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't wait till she leaves." This is a subtle art. It is an art, and if you get some of these subtle principles down, you will blow people away. Nobody can understand how John the janitor, this bum who couldn't get anything right, end up being in whatever the ranking is now in the top 50 earners in network marketing. It was subtle things that changed everything. I hope that helps.
That is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you coming to LA?
Oh, go ahead.
Are you gonna be in Los Angeles?
Yes, I'm packing out my car. I will be there.
I promise you, we're gonna go into in depth on several different topics that you guys gonna come out. You're gonna walk in one way. You're gonna come out completely different.
I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm ready too.
Definitely.
Yes.
I don't want to hold up here. Does anyone else have any questions? Going once.
Look, this is a sign either I did really, really good or I did really, really bad.
They're getting their email ready to corporate, like, oh, no.
Are we gonna have a follow-up training or
Yeah,
another one?
I'm open. As long as I can find enough for my kids, no problem. We do as many of these as no, we're good. I'm messing with you, Becca. I already committed to him that I would. What would help is you guys, if you like what you're hearing, and if you'd like to be more involved in working with Rebecca, send Alfred and send some of your leaders, your feedback from this call. And look, even if it's not positive, I would rather have the feedback go up the line, so I'm not wasting my time and not wasting anybody else's time. But if you think it's valuable, then send those messages, and then we can work something out where I can be more engaged with this group. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, I'm gonna stop right there, Mr. Malott. First of all, I think I speak for everybody right now. I'm just saying thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to embark us with some amazing training. Thanks for being a servant leader. I want to be clear, you guys. Two things. Number one, he's doing this out of love. I mean, if he had a price right now, I couldn't afford it. I'm just being real with you. And I know some of the numbers that Mr. Malott, I know that you get for doing this exact same thing. So I don't take this for granted, and I hope no one else does. I think the best way that we can show you our appreciation is to take this action, to apply it, like you said, to teach it, and really grow a big thing. So thank you very much. We appreciate you, and I'm going to go ahead and just end the training, guys. So thanks again.
All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you being on, taking the time tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, little baby. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Look forward to seeing
Thank you. Good night. Say good night.
you. Good night. That's the best.
Good night. Good night.